We've got 600 ESA schemes due to expire next year. What options will be available to those farmers?
Well, all of them will be entitled to apply for one of the stewardship schemes, ELS, Uplands ELS or high level stewardship. We hope as many of them as possible will want to convert to one of those schemes, and I obviously hope that most of them will find that they've got enough features to justify to enter high level stewardship, but some of them may not have. They will have to settle for ELS.
Is there going to be enough money in the pot for HLS for those farmers?
There is enough money in the pot for those who've got, for HLS, for those who've got the necessary features. HLS is obviously designed for the high level for those who've got particular features, biodiversity, countryside, landscape features, whatever it may be. And there is enough money in the pot for them. Yes, we made sure of that, which is why there's an 80% increase in the budget.
Mark Avery said at the Game Fair that he felt that the campaign for the farmed environment was doomed to failure. Do you believe that the campaign can still reach its target and, more importantly, deliver the benefits?
Well, that's what I'm really concerned about, is that we look at the benefits and whether it's really delivering. Obviously, it hasn't met all the targets yet. We're all well aware of that. But what really matters is what it's actually delivering on the ground. It's not, you don't measure, I said at the outset, before I became a minister, that you don't measure wildlife in acres, and I think some of the targets were a bit daft to try to do that. But what really matters, and what we should look at when it comes to an end next year, is what it's actually delivered in terms of evidence of wildlife and biodiversity improvement.
In terms of the balance between the environment and food production, is there any hint of a white paper for a food strategy from the government?
I don't know about a white paper, but a food strategy, very much so. We are working on that. We announced in the Natural Environment White Paper that we were going to set up a group to bring together the farming industry and the conservation lobby to see how we can farm more effectively, produce more food, but doing it in harmony with the environment, and we are taking that forward.
Would you back tax incentives for landowners who lease land to new entrants to encourage new people into the industry?
Well, as you'll appreciate, tax is very much a matter for the Treasury, not for the ministers in DEFRA. I fully understand the desire of young people to get started in farming. I was one of them once, and I fully understand that. But given today's economic situation, I think it would be a little unwise for me to hold out much hope in the near future.
The Cheel Meats video,
yes.
Is it time for CCTV in abattoirs?
I have to say firstly, what we saw on that video was unacceptable, vile, there's no word bad enough to describe it. I wish we could have prosecuted those people. I want to make that absolutely clear. The issue was that the video was obtained by trespass, not just by subterfuge, but by trespass, and we'd already had such evidence thrown out in previous cases, and therefore there was no prospect of a conviction. That's the only reason why we couldn't prosecute. It wasn't I didn't want to. Whether it's time for CCTV in abattoirs, well, we're looking at it. It's clearly got a lot of attraction, but it would be a massive investment. I mean, but I'm not prepared to tolerate bad, inhumane treatment of animals in an abattoir by anybody. And we are working with the Food Standards Agency, who are of course the people who actually go into the abattoirs, to find the best way forward. CCTV may be part of the answer.
Chinese lanterns, why don't you just ban them?
Well, Chinese lanterns bring a lot of pleasure to many people who let them off. Unfortunately, they don't always realise the consequences of them. Certainly we've worked with the Department of Business at the moment to persuade importers to manufacture them without wire. That helps, but sharp bamboo can be just as a problem. And obviously there's the fire issue. We're working with the different departments, because transport comes into this as well, and the Home Office because of fire, to find the right way forward. I understand people's desire for a ban. We're not over keen on banning anything in this under the present government, but we do need to make people aware of the implications of letting off these things in the wrong place. And
McIntosh was on Farming Today saying that the government should say once and for all whether it was pro or against super dairies, large scale.
Well, yes, this was in the Select Committee's report on dairying, and I couldn't quite understand the point they were trying to make, to be honest. We've made it absolutely clear that we have no problem with large dairies or indeed any other large animal institution operation. The fact is that all the evidence we've got so far is that issues to do with animal welfare, which are at the root of the public concerns, are not a function of scale. You can have bad animal welfare on a small farm just as much on a big farm. We are carrying out research. We've commissioned research into the welfare of cattle in large units, both the issue of zero grazing, where they don't go out, but also the issue of access to grass and paddocks and sunshine, all that sort of thing, and their behaviour and what they really want to do, given the freedom to choose. And when we will publish that research, obviously, when it's finished. If that throws up issues we need to address, we'll do it then. But it's quite clear at the moment, government doesn't see it as our job to say all farmers should be big or all should be small. We see it as part of the breadth of British agriculture.
Okay. And the final question regarding the supermarket adjudicator, are you in favour of amending the legislation to allow third-party suppliers to make representations?
The legislation will allow now for third parties to make complaints to the ombudsman. As you know, the bill is being considered by two different select committees at the moment. The draft bill. I've obviously seen some of the evidence that's been put to it. We'll have to see what the conclusions are. It will then come back to the government to make final decisions before presenting the actual bill to Parliament, I hope, during next year.
And that goes the same for fines from the outset?
Same applies to fines. Again, fines is in the bill. It just wasn't planned to introduce it from day one, but we may revisit that.
Thank you very much. Thanks.